and then the whole engineering process was going. So I'm just saying now that we're finding out, well, we didn't really need to take money, and we actually have a little extra money on the street furniture. I don't want to short the alley program if we don't have to. It seems like we don't have to, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, like I said, you know, the numbers that they gave us during the alley presentation were very preliminary estimates prior to any real engineering having been done.
Yeah.
Now that that engineering has been done, we have more information on substructure, drainage, you know, storm sewer insulation, all of that. We'll have some different numbers tomorrow morning, and then we'll be able to, you know, is the program that we laid out for you, does the engineer still believe that that can be accomplished within the current budget?
But I also think that what trustee meant is, I think we voted to put street furniture on Wilson Drive. So if you're saying, based on the fact there's not going to be bus stops on that presentation, we still need to vote to not put street furniture on Wilson Drive. I mean, I don't think you can take that vote away unless you vote.
Right, no, yeah, it was my intention to come back with some information once MCTS and provide some direction, because they're still going on a public feedback gathering mode for their proposal, so the final determination has not been made yet, and complete elimination from Wilson Drive, street furniture, or bus stops from Wilson Drive. So yes, we would need to come back and make a reconciliation of that.
Well, maybe we can discuss the available funding when we go out to bid. Okay. I mean, as long as we have an option within the engineering to
Sure.
for a higher amount.
Right, we talked, when we talked at that meeting about, you know, how we can structure those bids with alternates to make sure we maintain maximum flexibility.
Okay, great, thanks.
I have a question, just when it says that the engineered soil resulting from redesign of the bioswales, that they were not buildable as designed, what does that mean?
There was one in particular that when we got into the field, because of the presence of that high pressure gas main that runs through the corridor, for clearance reasons, bioswale couldn't be built as it was designed. We couldn't maintain clearance from that gas main.
And did we pay then to redesign it?
We paid them to redesign it. We did.
Well,
We did not pay them, but they did redesign it. But no, they did not invoice us, nor would I have. We did not pay for the redesign.
Okay, so we just paid for the extra soil, or?
We paid for the construction of it.
And then increased asphalt payment tonnage. That was road related, I take it? No?
Yes,
So it is a road related increase in cost,
correct.
not just sewer. Okay, and that's divvied out somewhere so that in the fiscal note of what went to road, what was the overage, and then for roads versus sewers?
The fiscal notes and the notes on the fiscal notes go through that process. And once the final costs are known, we set all the final cross allocations of engineering, redesigns, inspections, things of that nature. And that's all been updated to reflect the final amounts now. So again, just for a real quick review, you know, one of the key issues here is that a significant portion of that contract was not originally identified related to stormwater management and some of the bioswale plantings. So once you adjust for that, it changed the whole allocations, and it was, I believe it was about $65,000 in the final cost. Then it changed the allocation percentages between roads and stormwater for engineering and for inspections. So when you shift that money out of roads, because anything that wasn't originally classified as stormwater by default was roads. So then you shift all those things down, and the end result is that the roads came in a bit under budget, and the stormwater component of that over budget, but as Trustee Menta indicated, we do have reserve funds in the stormwater sewer utility to cover that overage. It wouldn't have been my optimal solution, but we are where we are today, and I certainly would not recommend borrowing money to cover that disparity at this point.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Seeing none? There's nothing, okay, thank you very much. Our next agenda item is to consider options regarding the breakfast liquor license, and a possible motion. BP Bear Assistant LLC rather than Remove is the holder of the license.
Can you address that? Because this is a which makes it kind of a misnomer that they're really technically transferable, because anybody who's going to take it over has to otherwise qualify under the statutes. But it's even harder to do with respect to a reserve license. In terms of the options moving forward, we've got a situation here where we know that we have a business who is holding a full Class B and a Class B beer license in the village that has been closed for some time, October 26th. So we know that we have an ordinance that says that we have the opportunity as a village to revoke for non-use. So as you know, they're also renewable every year with July 1st being renewal date. So we're coming up on season once again of renewal. So there's a couple of different options that the municipality would have. If they look at it and say, okay, we're satisfied that that it meets the definition of non-use as defined by ordinance, one option, of course, is the municipality can wait to see whether the applicant or the current license holder reapplies for renewal. If they don't reapply for renewal, there's really no additional special steps that have to be taken. The village would retake the license, and at that time there would be another available beginning in the next year, which is again July 1st. The other option is you could wait and see if they apply for renewal, and at that time you could say, well,
Why would they apply, why would a closed business, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah,
how does a closed business, that's why I asked, but apply for renewal?
well, I mean, theoretically they could, because once you're issued one, you have a property interest in it.
So you just,
And then we would probably, we would give them notice, because once you have the license, there's a property interest in that license. So if you're going to remove it or take it away from someone who already has it, the process either for non-renewal or revocation is essentially the same.
but my question is, and I asked Rebecca this in the agenda meeting, what is I don't understand. So I could apply for liquor license as Spiky Seconds if I sold liquor, and as soon as I close, you can't transfer it. So I could just sit on the license if the village did nothing?
It did happen in Oconomowoc, actually. They had to go through a huge process. It took a very long time because it was developments that never ended up developing. These people applied for liquor licenses and their board approved them. And they just kept up reapplying, and nobody wanted to go through that revocation process. And so because they thought they had stake in it, they didn't want anyone else to have those licenses in case they were going to develop at some point.
But this isn't their property. So I get it if it was like the owner of the property, but this is a business.
I mean,
But that's their whole background. They don't want someone else to have it. Yeah.
Trustee Warren.
So sorry, I'm just trying to simplify down a little bit. So basically the options are this, and tell me if I'm wrong here. We can take action and do revocation now and go through the hearing process. Or we can wait until June 30th and there's a chance they don't apply, in which case we wouldn't have to do any kind of hearing process. If they do apply, we essentially kick into the same kind of hearing process as if we were taking away the license now.
that's a very, very succinct, accurate summary of the,
There's one, Trustee McGee.
So it sounds like the only downside of waiting until the renewal calendar kicks in is that if we had two applicants for at one time.
Well, that could be true. And I'll just be very transparent, my concern is that I know of two people that would like to lease that space. And the business owner, even though they're closed, would like to charge to take over that space. So maybe for equipment, it's not detailed out. One way to charge a higher fee is to hold on to your liquor license because you're guaranteed that you, like Brockhouse did, you can condition the sale upon the village giving that liquor license. I would like to put an end to that. The business has closed, and I don't feel we should be tying any type of purchasing to a license, even though that's not in writing. I've seen this before, and our goal is to get a thriving business in that space as soon as possible so that the tax revenue, the taxes stay high for our next assessment cycle coming up. And so with that, if the price is high because of assumptions of a liquor license, then I believe it's in the village's best interest to proceed with taking our license back so that the sale, so the transfer of that property can happen sooner. So
If they do turn the license over to us, like if they hand in back that physical piece of paper, they don't have it anymore, it's ours again. So in the process of renewal, we can say to them, we realize your business is closed, if you're choosing not to renew and you'd like to hand that back to us, they just may not.
why have we reached out to ask them that? The business is closed, it's been over 120 days. Has anyone on staff reached out and said, could you hand it back?
We typically don't, no, it's up to them, because it's their license, so you
Yeah,
kind of give them up to,
I mean, it's on our agenda. It would have been great to have, isn't there a spot that says, have we reached out to the community or the business? And no. My assumption is it's been past the 220 days, and so they're gonna hold on to that license until they can solidify a deal at the right price. And so I don't want to foster that as a village. I want clean village of business. The village asks for the license back.
We really want to have a good sale of a valuable property and a thriving business. We want that business. I mean, I think that's the general practice with the bars. They may close, but they hold the license so they can try to rent it out as a bar. I just know.
Have we done that in the village of Shorewood? I mean,
Well, that's what happened with Broadhouse.
no, they weren't closed. So this is,
They were selling.
well, of course, but they didn't close their doors. Trustee McCary.
I really appreciate you sharing that, your awareness of the potential situation. It is based on hearsay, because I'm just hearing it from you. And proposing that, it makes me uncomfortable because it feels like government is interceding into a private negotiation. We have the grounds to do it. It makes me uncomfortable, and I don't see that this is very different than a business selling, and they still have ownership of the license. So whether or not we consider option. So I will just say that that's my initial reaction, and so I wouldn't consider what you're proposing.
I agree, and I would like the people who haven't told that to me, the people that weren't in the private negotiations, to have an opportunity to have said it to you themselves, because they said it, I'm just sharing, so I don't know if they were notified to be here. My only concern is in the best interest of the village, which is literally, I would like to see this space a thriving business for our residents. And at this point, the cost of sale is higher than the value of the equipment. And so whether that's due to the liquor license or not, I believe that we could get someone in that spot if we take back the property that is ours after 120 days of non-use. I don't feel we've had this situation before, and if we have, I'd like to know about it, where a business is closed and just kept the license.
Question, are they selling, I mean,
They don't own that.
what they have to do, they have to come to us to transfer the license, or are they selling the
license
business?
can't be transferred, it's
No.
reserved. Yeah, so it goes, doesn't back to us, it's ours, they can't like
So it's
sell it
gonna
with
come back
property.
to
Yeah.
us. But if they have the business, they sold the business, not the license. The business, they could have new owners and they hold the license,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, the
Yeah, so
LLC.
they wouldn't have to come
so
back.
The LLC
If
and
you just sold the LLC
Yeah.
and not the,
Right.
yep,
So-
is it an LLC?
It's, under Ruckus Incorporated.
So it's not,
it's
so they have to
under
sell
Ruckus
Ruckus
Incorporated.
It's a
Yeah.
corporation.
So they could do the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
I'm confused, I'm sorry. So does it come back to us, or can they sell the business, and does it come, is it transferable or not when they sell the business? Or does it depend on how they structure the transaction?
I can't, yeah, you can't make a definitive statement.
Yeah.
one way or another, Because there's all sorts of other requirements under chapter 125 that they would have to otherwise qualify.
It's not cut and dry.
What are you talking about?
There's all, the individual would be, part of the application process, there's things like, they do a background check, there's certain disqualifying criteria, and there's all kinds of other things that relate to that, so it's, I mean, it's not necessarily